Hey guys, don't know if you can hear me or not. Just give me a quick shout in the chat if you can. Okay, I'm just messing around with some settings at the moment, so you're not going to see much action for a few minutes. And what I'm trying to do is figure out how to stream my PS4 to YouTube and to Facebook at the same time. I know it's possible, so you have to bear with me while I'm trying to mess around with this. It's going to restart my worker. Oops. Alright, so I should now be live on Facebook as well. If someone could pop open a Facebook browser and just double check that for me, that would be amazing. Awesome stuff. So what's it look like? Does it look pretty smooth? Is it all jerky? Is it juddering a lot? It looks a little jerky on my laptop. This is completely new to me, trying to mess around. I haven't had a computer that works for years now. And this is the first time I've tried to sort of stream to YouTube and Facebook at the same time. I know Facebook looks to be running quite smooth. My YouTube browser looks like it might be running a little bit jerky. Fantastic stuff. So yeah, it's been a while. Just doing a quick sort of test. I'm not going to be on necessarily too long in this session, but I am looking at maybe doing this on a much more regular basis. Maybe replace doing some of my original sort of video styles with a few sort of live streams. You know, maybe 2 or 3 a week, maybe a bit more than that. I don't know yet. But having some fun here on Baltic Sea. As you can see, I'm planting some wheat on this field. To show you the kind of layout I've got set up. This is my first day of seasons. Although I did put around about 28 hours, I think it was, into this before I got started. So you can see that I've got fields 7 and 6 here that are ready to plant. All my fields are ploughed apart from this one here, field 3, which I've just purchased. I'm playing on hard, and so no money box mods, no cheats or anything like that. It's literally just the money I can generate from the game and really, really crappy crop prices to go with it. But I'm using old equipment, old Massey equipment, because it's kind of perfect for this map, I think. So I've got 7 and 6 here that I'm probably going to put some canola on. I'm using the Poland geo for this. I wasn't really sure what to do with geos for this particular map because it's the Baltic Sea and it covers a huge different sort of range of areas. So I did initially try the North Sweden mod because I thought that might be kind of cool. And technically part of the Baltic does go up towards North Sweden. And I got into midsummer and all my crops died. I all planted them at the right time of year, you know, the final day of the planting cycle, because that was the first day I could actually work the ground, that it wasn't frozen. Got them all in, they all started to grow, and then they all just died. My entire crop, everything I planted, apart from corn, everything died. I'm like, I have no idea why. So I don't know if there's a problem with that geo, because I haven't really used it. But I decided I didn't want to mess around with that too much. So I've gone with Poland, because Poland does kind of just about border onto the edge of the Baltic, right at the very north of Poland. So I've gone to the opposite end of the Baltic Sea, so to speak. I've added in a few fields that are extra. So field 30 I've purchased. Field 12 here, this little grass field, this is an extra one I've purchased. Field 3, field 2. Have I added any? Oh, and field 23, which I'm currently planting wheat on just here as well. Those are all fields that I've purchased as additional ones. Oh, and field 7. You don't start with field 7 either. Or 10, for that matter. But you do start with a few grass fields. You normally start with 8, with 11, 18. You normally start with 25 and 22, these two just here. 40 and 33, you start with these ones. You start with field 1, you start with fields 5 and 6. I think you start with field 4. I honestly can't remember on field 4 or not. So I've purchased quite a few extra different fields, and I'm in the middle of ploughing over here. So let's get my turbo up and running. I've got 3 tractors, all old Masseys, all from the Peter J modding selection, and I'm using a mixture of the Peter J Massey stuff and the Black Sheep Massey old generation pack. There we go. So if I just jump back to the farm, give you a quick look around. I've added in a few sheep as well, so I've got 10 sheep to play about with. My little sheep pen area over here. Stuck a few grass hay bales just there. Over here, this is where I've stored my mixer. I've got my square baler. This is for when I'm loading bales off the fields. This is for my 399, which is currently planting wheat. A couple of different back weights here. Some front loader tools, all from the Massey old generation pack. So this is a pallet fork, bale spike, and then the bucket. Using this bale trailer, because I've not used this trailer before, apart from just a little bit of testing recently, and I actually quite like it. It doesn't hold a huge amount of bales, only holds 18 square bales if you stack them 3 high, but that's enough, I think, especially for a small farm. Using the old is it Bruno? Yeah, the Bruno animal trailer just there. Got my pigs over here. This is where I keep my plough and my cultivator, both using the old generation Massey stuff. what have I got in here? I got rid of the sugarcane equipment. So in here, I've got the Massey cutter, and I've also got the Bullet Bill Massey trailer here. I've got two of these. I've got this one in the silage setup. Oops, find my way out of here. And then the other one is just the standard grain setup, which lives just over here. There it is, hiding in there. And then around here, I've got the mower and the mower header. And I've tried to put it on a Bison cutter trailer. So it's the modded Bison cutter trailer here, which you can get off the mod hub. This is designed for the header from the Bison Combine from the Sugarcane DLC. But this is actually a mod. This was released separately. I forget who released this. But this is actually low enough and flat enough that I can actually get this on and off onto here. And it's a lot more stable on this than if I put it on the flat wooden sort of trailer that comes with the Massey pack. It keeps sliding. The slightest little nudge and it's gone. But it slides off. On this, it's pretty much locked in place. It's pretty secure. You can have the little bump here and there and it doesn't jiggle around. So that's actually a really, really good little top tip if anyone wants to use the old generation mower. Stick the header on the Bison cutter trailer. It's much more stable. Then I got the Massey mower, the Massey Combine with the header, and then I've also got a 6-meter corn header just there as well. Using the Kverneland seeders, so I've got the little 4.5-meter Accord there for my corn and so on and so forth, and I've got the 3-meter on the field. Got my cows in here, as you'd expect. Nothing around there, nothing at the top I don't think either. And then maybe actually I might have some grasswork equipment up there. Around here, switched out the water trailer with the modded trailer from the liquid storage pack because it holds more capacity and it's cheaper. And this is my third tractor over here, the 362, complete with front loader. This is my yard tractor, so I'm using this for for doing my bale work and my feed work and stuff around the yard. So that's kind of my setup. I think that's everything. Let me just double check as I scooch my way up here. Oh, yeah, I got the old Massey sprayer in there as well. I haven't used that yet, so I'm hoping that's going to work quite nicely. It's got a very wide working width. I'm worried it might be a little too wide for this for these fields, but I guess we'll find out in the future. Yeah, up here's my grasswork equipment. So I'm using the standard Kuhn windrower, and then I'm using this little modded Pottinger tedder. I love this thing. It's only got like a 4.5-meter working width, but it's actually really, really good. And it has a tendency to keep the grass in windrows when you ted it as well. It doesn't splay it out all over the place, which is really cool. And then I got this grassland harrow mod as well, just so I can weed my grass. Again, quite a small working width, doesn't need to be huge, but I like that. It's a really nice thing. And with colour optimization, I can put that in the same sort of shade of red as my Masseys as well, which is always good. And then I've got a little mower over here, hiding in a shed around the back, just so that I can get some grass when I need to for my cows, without having to break out all the mowers and send them out on a big job. So let's check on the progress. This guy's going to keep running through the rest of the night. How's my seeder getting on? Getting there, slowly. Got this one in 2-wheel drive. I do love this little 2-wheel drive version. So how are things with everybody else? Let me know how you're doing in the comments. I am reading. I've got a nice little chat window open on my laptop in front of me so I can see what you guys are saying. Let's have a quick read through some of your comments so far. Got a fair few people in the States and even Canada watching. That's kind of cool. If they ain't red, leave them in the shed. Yeah, I've seen quite a few different variants of statements like that. I've seen them sort of pro John Deere and against John Deere, all sorts of stuff. Donny, I see you're still on aggravation. I thought you'd ended that now after 5 years on that map. Or are you still waiting for Lone Oak and was it Welker Farms? Will I be continuing the series I was doing before I left, or will I be starting new ones? Haven't decided. I won't be picking them all up. I won't be picking up Valley of the Old Farm. I'm done with that one now. It's been too long for me to sort of jump back into that one, and I'm kind of, if it wasn't for the fact that while I've been away we've had 2 brand new Fendt tractors, I probably would have immediately killed off Fendt Farm as well. But we've now got a Fendt 500 Vario and a 1050, and they're both amazing mods. They're both fantastic. Love them to bits. So now I don't know. Now I'm umming and ahhing whether or not to continue with Fendt Farm. I might keep that on a once or twice a week basis. I don't know. I'm probably going to start something new. I'm going to be doing. This is my own private farm. This is Baltic. I'll probably live stream a bit of this every now and again, but I won't be bringing back the Valley of the Old Farm. Big Bud Farm, I'm just going to cancel, and we'll probably look at restarting that on Welker as an occasional thing. But I'm going to kind of scale back a little bit. I think I'm starting out because I've been playing it so much, a bit burnt out, and I'm kind of wanting really weary of the series, if that makes sense. Keen and eager and raring to go when 19 drops later in the year. I don't want to be kind of like, oh, 19's out, fantastic, but it's trying to get those videos out. I want to be really pumped up and excited and raring to play, so I'm going to scale back a little bit. Am I playing on PS4 or PC? I'm playing on PS4, always do, and probably always will, at least for a long time anyway. I just simply can't afford, a PC that's going to be good enough to give me, gaming graphics that you need for the modern day games these days, or the processing power for that matter. So for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be a PS4 player. I have no real plans to move on to PC gaming. Plus, I just prefer consoles. It's my own personal preference. There are pros and cons to each type of system. I'm happy with my PS4, and I'll continue to game on it. And if you guys are happy to continue watching PS4 footage, I know there are a lot of other console farmers out there. It gives you guys something that's kind of akin to what you're going through as well. You won't be able. So you're in the same boat as me. We don't have access to all those wonderful mods that are on PC. So you'll get to see footage equal to what you can achieve yourself, rather than that annoying, envious feeling of watching people with insanely large selections of mods and overly complicated script mods and all that sort of stuff. I'd love to have them, but until they come to console, it's just not going to happen. So I'll stick to console farming. I've also been playing around with the super sampling feature on my PS4 Pro, and I've got it working properly. So those of you that saw my map tours for Oregon Springs and Oakfield will probably have noticed that those were quite blurry every time I panned the camera. And I was playing around with super sampling, but I wasn't checking it out properly. So what I've done is I've actually changed settings. Before, with the PS4 Pro, you could only stream or play or broadcast or whatever, you could only render graphics based on the display that you had. So if you had a 1080p display, you could only ever render in 1080p. Couldn't even select the options for 4K or 1440. Those options were completely grayed out to you, just didn't have access to them. But now with the super sampling, I can actually access those. So last time I tried to play about with super sampling, I was trying to super sample 1080p graphics, which is why it was causing a lot of blurring and stuff every time I kind of scrolled left and right on the camera. Anytime there was any kind of movement, sort of just watching like this, it would be reasonably smooth, but anytime I did this and pan the camera, you would get a lot of blurring all over the place. Made it really, really hard to see what was going on. So what I've done is I've actually gone into my settings and activated 4K settings, because now that I've got super sampling, I can actually select it. And what it does is it tries to render up to 4K and then scale back down to 1080p to match the display I'm on. So it does give me slightly crisper, slightly sharper graphics than before. They're still 1080p resolution, but they do look a little bit nicer. Not a huge amount, but a little bit. But it also means that I don't get that horrible blurring every time I pan the camera when I'm recording. Didn't get them when I was playing, just when I was recording and watching the footage back. Now I can do that, and it's nice and smooth, and that horrible blurring from the Oakfield map tool doesn't exist anymore. So this is now rendering in 4K and then scaling back to 1080p. Just need to get a little bit more of a border on the end here. Some of these fields are really awkward for AI farming. I think I'll probably just do the rest of this field manually. There's not a huge amount of it left now. We're up to 8:30 in the evening. Okay, so 2 more passes and this field is done. Got a new 4K TV. It's the 1080p the best. Drifted as I was reading the question there. Let's think. There are different settings for Farming Sim on the console. You've got 1080p, which is the standard setting, and if you have just a standard PS4, that's the only setting you get, so you can't change it. If you have a PS4 Pro like me, then you have 1080p and you have 1080p enhanced. And enhanced supposedly gives you a slightly smoother frame rate, a slightly bigger draw size as well, I think. But it essentially gives you just a slightly smoother frame rate, and that's pretty much all 1080p enhanced does. Then you have 1440p, and then you have 4K. And 4K obviously gives you the best visuals, but I think the frame rate for that is around about 45 frames per second. It's not amazingly good unless it's been optimized. This is going back to when these settings were first made available for Farming Sim 17. So not long after launch of the PS4 Pro, this game was updated to add 4K settings for consoles. And when it first came out, these settings gave you kind of around about 45 frames per second, I think it was, on 4K. Around 50 frames per second on 1080p. and slightly higher frame settings on 1440p. That actually gave you slightly less clear visuals than obviously the 4K, but gave you slightly faster frame rates. I think it was sort of mid-50s on that one. So it all depends on what you want, really. It's whether you want, you know, crystal clear smooth frame rates, or whether you want, you know, those really crystal clear smooth graphics, as to whether you want to run it in 1440 or 4K if you've got a 4K TV. But I would say try both, see which one you prefer. I mean, you have the option of doing both, so see which one looks the nicest and plays the smoothest. Right. How much more of this field's still to go? A fair way. Alright. So, I'll leave them doing that. Let's skip to dawn. What other maps have I been playing? Not a lot, really. I mean, I've been trying to play about with some old stuff that I haven't really used that much before. I did play around on Thornton for a while. I had a small farm running on Thornton. I think I might still have the file on that. What else was I running around on? Tried running around on New Bartelshagen, but it just took so long to get anything done on that I just kind of defeated the object of that one. Played around on Vorpum and Rügen for a little while. So just trying out maps that I haven't really featured on the channel before. Just trying something a bit different, you know, just to keep me ticking over in the background. And then this map came out, and I love this map. You know, I'm a huge fan of Red Keinstus's maps. We've had 3 now, including this one. The other 2 being Altenstein and... what's the other one? Woodshire. 2 cracking maps. And now this one, you know, the 3rd map, Baltic Sea from Red Keinstus, is absolutely fantastic. There's so many great features on this map that I absolutely love. This, in particular, this rail yard is brilliant. There's no working trains here, but just the aesthetics of it. I really love this. This is like a proper rail yard with really, really nice aesthetics. I just love this. This is just such a cool area. Really nice to see this come onto the map. It's just a shame that we can't interact with it, really. But it is really, really cool. I really do like this. I don't know if the train does actually turn up, if you can summon it for wood. I don't think you can, but it'd be nice. This exclamation mark doesn't actually do anything, which is a bit of a shame. So it's kind of there for PC players only. But the crane does work, so you can, you know, unload, but there's just nothing to unload onto. And I haven't seen yet anywhere to call the train in, so... Any news on Welker Farm and Lone Oak? Well, Lone Oak went into testing yesterday on consoles, I think. Memory serves me right. Let me pull up the testing thread. Yeah, Lone Oak went into testing yesterday for console players. I don't know if it's passed for PC. It hasn't been released for PC yet, but I don't know if it's passed or not. We just got to wait and see when it passes testing. It's been submitted. It is currently in testing. As for Welker Farms, I think there's still some bugs that need to be worked out on that one. We might see that back in testing this week. I do know that there's... or from what I understand, there's 2 different versions of that. There's a 2 times map and a 4 times map. The 4 times for PC and the 2 times for console, because we can't have 4 times maps. So I'm curious to see what the differences are going to be between that, whether it's a case of just taking the 4 times map and scaling it down, you know, to half size, or if it's going to be a lot of additional stuff around the outside that we don't have. That'll be interesting to see. If there are any substantial differences, or if it just means we've got a smaller landmass but the same layout. But as always, the best place to find information on what's in testing is the official testing thread on the Giants forums. And for those of you who haven't seen it, I've just posted that into the chat comments below. I'll do that on the Facebook link as well. There we go. So that should hopefully get an update in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Right, so, oh, temperature's dropped. It's now 2 degrees. It was 4 degrees yesterday. What's the weather going to be like? Not too bad. Right, let's check out the rest of the farm. My animals probably need a little bit of tender care today. I need to tidy up after them. Let's jump into my little yard work tractor. There we go. I'll start with the sheep. Oh, big bump there. What the hell did I just drive over? Ah, that lip. Still too much grass in that trough. I actually did quite a bit of prep work before I loaded seasons into this, so my trough for all my animals should theoretically have 6 days worth of food in. So it means any grass that gets spat out from the sheep, they just won't go back in because there's too much in there already. But it should go in here with the cows. And one thing I have noticed as well, when you're using a bucket on this, those lines just here, there's actually like a little lip. You can't really see it, but there is actually a little lip here. And if you go past these lines, you kind of dip down just a little bit and your bucket catches on it. So you have to lift it back up again if you've got it too low. Let's just empty. See, now that grass won't go back in there either. Yeah, too much grass. Okay, so if that's the case, we'll just have to dump this and let it rot. Great demand for sugar beets. I might have some of those in storage, actually. I do. 36,000 litres. What's the pricing looking like for beets? Not too bad. I think we might sell some beets, make back some money. Got a 500,000 euro loan, which on hard is a pretty big loan. So need to start paying that off as quickly as possible. Let's just dump that grass just there. That should rot and start disappearing almost immediately. And by this time in a couple of days it'll all be gone for good, for definite. Might not even take that long. And let's tidy up after the pigs as well. And again, because the food troughs are slightly overfilled, I can't tip the corn back in. So what I've been doing with the corn is tipping that into the silo so that I don't lose it or waste it. Alright, what am I looking like for water and stuff? That should all be good. Yeah, it's just the cleanliness and that's just been taken care of, so they'll all reset themselves in a moment. That's fine. Let's go put this tractor away. We'll switch over to the 399. We'll take some sugar beets over to market. There are a few oddities on this map that I'm a little confused by. I really don't know why we have this boundary gate just here when there isn't one. It seems a bit of a strange place to have the gate just there and not sort of down here coming across the bridge, because I can still access everywhere in the farmyard, even inside there with that gate closed. I just go around the other side of the building and I can get there. It just seems a little bit odd to have that gate just there. Not quite sure what purpose it serves. And also there's one over here as well which I don't quite understand either. You've got this nice big opening just here, so you can drive through into this section of the yard, and then you've got a gate which just, again, I don't understand why that gate exists. What's the point of it? It just seems a little bit odd. There we go. I'm going to use my larger trailer for my beets, just simply because I've got a lot of them. Question is, can I actually get in and out without getting in the way of that harvester? I might have to move that back a little bit. There we go. Excellent stuff. Right, so let's load up on some beets. And where do I need to take these? To the vegetable warehouse. Let's see, where is the veggie warehouse? Down here with the spinnery. Okay. So there's a couple of different ways that we can, well, there's 3 different ways we can go. We can go all the way around to the right, which is what I'm going to do. I could cut through the middle and shortcut my way down there through some of the fields. Or I could go all the way around the opposite way to the left, same as the traffic's going, but I'm going to go this way just because I get to show off a couple of little features that I do really like. There's a lot of borrowed sort of features on this map as well that I've noticed. Quite a few of the farm buildings back there you might recognise, like Old Stream, for example. There's quite a few Old Stream buildings on there. There's some stuff that we've seen on Sosnovka in a couple of places and some other maps. There are some really, really nice terrain features. The castle that's coming up, that's one that has been used by Oxygen David on both Sandy Bay and Thornton. And I do like the fact that we kind of go underneath, the road goes sort of underneath that gateway. That's a really nice little feature. And we've got the roadworks as well, which is just a really nice little thing. I have noticed that we are starting to see this on a slightly more regular basis from Red Kindness. We saw this on Woodshire, an area under construction, or a couple of different areas under construction, one on the main road and one just up past the logging area. And this one's actually got them literally on the main road. You can see part of the road being dug up, or cordoned off a digger, because some pipes are being dug up either side of the road. It's a really nice little feature that you have to kind of give way to oncoming traffic. I like this. This is just it's silly, but I really like this. You can see the pipes being laid here, the drainage pipes going underneath. It's just a little scene that doesn't have any real purpose or effect on the map, but I really like the fact that it does just block off part of the road like this. Alright, so I'm pretty sure this is my sell point just here. Can I tip this actually? Now we've got the height. Yes. Just. Wow, a mighty 2,972 euros. Wow, I'm going to get rich off these beats. That's shockingly low. That's terrible. I'm going to shortcut back through the fields. Really not quite sure why there's a... That was a nature symbol. I was wondering why there was a road traffic sign there. It's not, it's just a nature warning symbol. And there's the farm. It's quite a nice little shortcut on this this dirt path. Am I going to do a Let's Play on this map? Not a proper Let's Play series as such, but I am going to live stream my progress on this map from time to time. This is going to be my own private farming map. Right, how much more beets have I got left? 13,000 litres. That's more than I need. But I don't need this trailer again, so I'm going to put this one away and we'll switch over to the other one. That's really tight in here. There we go. There we go, leave myself a few thousand litres for the pigs. I think we'll go this way this time. This really is a very, very pretty map, and I can't really see a huge amount of life in it at the moment because it's very, very early spring, so everything's still dead. But once this map gets into sort of summer, it just comes alive with colour. It really does. When you've got the fields and the bushes and the trees and the flowers, it really does just spring to life. It looks absolutely amazing. And it's got this wonderful rustic feel. I did actually consider playing around with some of the older sort of German equipment on this. So I was looking at the 4-Schritt harvester, the new 4-Schritt tractor, which isn't too bad, but only has 100 horsepower. I was also looking at maybe supplementing that with forgotten the name of the tractor now. Big Russian 200 horsepower beastie. The Kirovitz, that's it. I was looking at supplementing it with a Kirovitz, but decided to go with this Massey stuff instead. So I got one tractor that's around about 100 horsepower, one that's 120, one that's I think around about 60 or 70. And there we go. That is my great big beet sell-off. Now, if I can get a sell-off like that for wheat, I'll be happy, because I've got about 60,000 litres of wheat. But I need to keep any canola I've got and any corn I've got for the pigs. I need to keep some of that wheat back for the pigs as well, I think, because I think I sold all my barley. Interestingly enough, with the Poland Geo, it really does kind of change some of your crop options. So I need to do some canola, but yeah, for planting, but I can't plant that till nearly summertime. It's kind of swapped the growth requirements around for soybean and canola. So canola I can plant, soybean I can plant pretty soon, but I need 10 degrees for canola, so I can't plant that for ages yet. And once I put the trailer away, I'll show you the Geo for planting, for those of you that haven't seen the Poland Geo before. It's supposed to promise long cold winters and warm wet summers. Which could make grass work a bit interesting. Actually, I need to push that back a little bit further. There we go. Ah, not close enough. There we go. Right, so this is the planting. So you can see here canola. I can't plant that till nearly the end of summer. and then I won't be able to harvest it till next year. So I don't have a huge amount of canola, and that's going to last me all the way through till next summer, which is a bit frustrating. But you can see, look, soybean, I can start planting that from day 3 and only need 5 degrees. Same with sunflowers, you know, I only need 6 degrees for that. Corn only needs 5 degrees, and I can plant that from day 1. So let's get some corn planted. It's the wrong seeder. I'm hoping that the weight of this seeder will not be too much for this tractor. If it is, I'll have to switch them over. It seems okay. And where do I want to put my corn? I'm thinking field 3. I could do corn on these 2 fields. I'm going to do corn on these 2 fields up here, 6 and 7, so that I've got some for chaff and I've got some for harvesting. I did briefly consider putting all my bales in that big shed just there, but in the end I decided to stick with where I have stuck them, which is the big shed sort of next to the cows. I've shoved them all in there, so they're all quite close for the cows, which is going to be the main need for my bales for when I'm making TMR. And I'm going to do loose silage rather than silage bales. I've still got a few left over from the starting allocation, but after that I will switch them over. Oh, and this could be a struggle using this tractor. Might have to switch them over. Trouble is, the 399 is terrible when it comes to ploughing. It just gets no traction whatsoever, so it kind of potters along at 3 or 4 miles an hour. Despite having enough power to actually do it, it doesn't have any grip. And you can't change the rear wheel setup if you want to run this in 2-wheel drive, and I want this in 2-wheel drive, so means I can't really use it for plough work or even cultivating. It struggles with cultivating as well, it goes really slowly, and it's going pretty slowly here again. It's just not getting the traction. This is finished, so I think we'll use the 390T to do our planting with that seeder. I don't know, I'll probably get the field cultivated first. I missed my turn off. Can it have a front weight on it? Well, it has got a front weight on it. If you can see, look there, it does actually have the little front weight pack, but it can't have a front attacher, front forks like this. So this one again, I could have a front weight attacher, built into this one, or I can use the front forks. Let's give this a quick clean and put it away. Get the cultivator out. We'll cultivate that field. I was using the Massey planter, the 5 meter planter, but it's too unpredictable on anything other than evenly smooth ground. It just keeps leaving huge chunks that it hasn't planted on it. It means a lot of going back and driving over at weird angles just to fill in all the gaps. It doesn't seem to matter what map I do that on, it always seems to have had that problem. That plough always seems to fall over as well. I'll have to reset that in a moment and stick it back there later. Yeah, I was using the 5 meter standard grain seeder and just got fed up with having to constantly go back and correct over it, which is why I switched over to the smaller Kverneland 3 meter. Can't really go much beyond that because of the horsepower requirements. Just checking a little 399 struggling away. I'm going to have to do some corrective work at the other end of the field as well, I think. One thing I have noticed is that the AI struggles when it gets close to roads and just stops. So if you've got the AI doing planting or cultivating or ploughing or anything for you, it will stop short on the end of quite a lot of the fields. When it gets close to a road, it just stops and turns around. So you kind of have to put a headland in at one end of the field just to make sure that it gets stuff done. Sometimes at both ends. This one might be okay. She's gone all the way along on this one, but just to be on the safe side, I am going to put a headland in. Definitely had to on that field because it's so close to that wall there. There you can see that wheel slip. This is because of the ground response mod. There we go, and that's what's causing the wheels to slip, and this struggle to this tractor to struggle in particular is ground response. But I'm not going to turn it off because it just adds another element to the game that I think should be a default thing. I really hope ground response and tire dirt and what's the other one? Ground response, tire dirt and crop destruction. I hope those are default included in Farming Sim 19 that you can then choose to toggle if you don't want them. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Joe, about it working fine on Xbox. I mean, it works fine on PlayStation, but you get a field which has a little bit of a bumpiness, and it all of a sudden it causes problems. I'm going to show you a little patch on this field. It did the rest of it absolutely fine, but it's pretty much every field you'll have a little area somewhere where it doesn't like. I'm just trying to find it's along this edge. Here we go, look, you can see this little sort of divotty patch just here. You've got a little bump just there, look, and a little bump just here, and divots in between, and the only way to kind of clear out that really bumpy edge of the field there, you can see it raising and falling all the way along there. The only way to deal with that was to go over all these ridiculous angles just to make sure that I could get it all covered. And you have to do that on a lot of fields when you use the Massey Seeder. You'll find patches on fields where it'll go absolutely fine, and then it'll find this really uneven little patch of ground because it's 5 meters. And it may be, again, it may be as a result of the crop destruction, of ground response, but you just get these areas where it just doesn't want to seed. So you can see here, it went forward and it skipped all this patch here. It skipped all of this patch here, did a little bit just there, skipped all of this here, did did a little bit there, skipped that bit there, and then carried on again. And it was just along this bit here, and it did the rest of the field absolutely fine. But yeah, I had to go across it at all these different angles on that little bumpy patch just there. Right, so let's see. I've got barley and wheat planted on these three fields here. These are going to be corn. I might put corn on field 3 as well. I'm saving this for soybean. I'm toying with the idea of doing spuds down here. Maybe spuds down here, but I don't have a spud planter. I'll probably lease one, I think, maybe to plant some spuds. I don't really want to go into too much more debt. I think $500,000 on hard is absolutely fine as a limit for how much debt I want to go into, because it's so hard to make that money back. So I'll probably just lease it. It gives me then a chance to mess around with the Bulwer 2 from Akpil. I haven't used this yet. I've been wanting to try this out, and I think this map would be perfect for it. So I think I'll probably play around with that on that field there. I've also got this small field down here as well. Probably put spuds on that one as well. And then these two fields, I'm thinking canola. Might even do canola on this field as well, actually. So that means I've got this field up here as well, which I think I've put grass on that field. I can jump up and have a look. Yeah, I've already planted this, and I think I've put grass on this field. I don't have I don't have any money. I was going to say I don't have a Wopster, so I can't scan the field to be sure. Where did I get the Wopster at? The Wopster's part of Seasons. It's built into Seasons only, so if you're not playing Seasons, you can't use it, you can't buy it. If you are using Seasons, it's in the Miscellaneous tab. Do a bit of manual cultivating, I think. Save a little bit of money on wages. Seasons on the Valley is good. You've got quite a few different options that you can go with. I mean, Seasons in the... well, I'd say Seasons in the Valley. That's just what I called it. It's the Valley of the Old Farm, but I called it Seasons in the Valley because I was running Seasons on it. But the Valley of the Old Farm's a good map. There's lots of options for combining your field, especially now that you can remove those fences. With the update, you can just switch fences off individually for whichever field you want that has them on there. You can make some really big monster fields on that map now. And it's not really set anywhere specific. It's kind of a made-up map in a made-up region. It's got some sort of French-named villages. It's got some English-named villages. It's kind of a fictional area, so you could use any of the kind of the European geos really and set it wherever you want to. It has no specific location. I do know that Black Sheep is actually looking at setting up a new map ready for Farming Sim 19. They're looking at making a French map based off a real French location. So they are currently asking people to submit their real-world French farm locations, and they're going to make a choice based on the submissions that they get, I think. But obviously they're working on South Mountain Creamery at the moment, which is a real-world USA map. I think they're looking to recreate that kind of experience, but in a French setting. So that'll be, I think, the first map, or the first new map we see from Black Sheep for FS17 will be this little French village farm that they're going to be working on. Not sure whether they're going to bring across. I would imagine we're going to see South Mountain Creamery make its way over to 19. I would imagine possibly the Valley of the Old Farm as well. I don't know about Old Stream. That was I think a 15, maybe even a 13. I think it was a 15 map that was brought over. So I don't think we'll see that one, or at least not straight away. We might do, but I would imagine South Mountain Creamery will definitely make its way over, and I'd be pretty surprised if the Valley of the Old Farm doesn't make its way over as well, because that does seem to be pretty popular with a lot of people. And we know that Bill is going to be bringing over Lone Oak. Might bring over the West Coast. I don't know if he's going to bring over Coldborough. Know that David is definitely going to be bringing over Oakfield and Shamrock Valley. Shamrock Valley, which is almost ready for testing. It's just about finished. A few little tweaks and will be submitted to Giants, I think possibly sometime this week, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So we might see that in the next couple of weeks as well. And both of those maps will get transferred over to Farming Sim 19. That's already been confirmed by David. Well, depending on where I see your question there about pre-ordering Farming Sim, Joe, you can kind of, I think, depending on where you want to get it from, you can possibly already place a pre-order on places like Amazon. There'll be a placeholder price. It won't be a confirmed price yet because that hasn't actually been confirmed. I'd be surprised if it was more expensive than 17 was at launch, so you're probably looking at around £45–50, maybe $60 in the UK, in the US, somewhere around that kind of price range I would have thought. And obviously it'll be cheaper on PC because it always is, so you can take a tenner off that price if it's a PC game. It's $50, 50 quid. It'll be like 40 quid on PC, maybe even cheaper than that. It always but yeah, I think Amazon might already be accepting pre-orders, which will then obviously be updated once they get confirmed details and a confirmed release date. But as far as ordering on the PlayStation Store, It's not been officially announced with a release date yet, so, or a release window. I mean, they've said fall, but they've not said anything more specific than that. The predicted sort of release date is going to be sort of somewhere in October. That seems to be the traditional release month for Farming Sim, but we'll see. Oh, lifted a little bit too early that time. I really hope with 19 that we get a selection of older equipment as well, in sort of like not just in the small range but in the mid range as well. I would love to have, we've got these great mods, these old massy mods, but we haven't got anything that really goes above 120 horsepower. It'd be really great if we had something that was sort of like 160 to 200 horsepower, like a really old sort of, or maybe even a 90s sort of mid-range massy. We don't have that much in terms of the older stuff in that mid-range kind of category. It's all really small, and I'd like to see a little bit of the larger stuff in there, so that if you do want to run an old school farm like this, you're not limited to just really small equipment. You have the option of a tractor or two that's a bit more powerful, that can use some of that sort of mid-sized 6-meter equipment without struggling at 1 or 2 miles an hour. Drifting a little bit there as I was looking away for a second. Will I be resuming my Let's Play on Green River and Big Bud? Big Bud, no. Green River, maybe. I haven't decided. It's been at least 3 months since I loaded that file up, so I don't know. I'm umming and ahhing about it because we've had 2 new Fents. We've had the Fent 500 Vario just a few days ago, just a couple of days ago, which is amazing. I love it. And obviously the Fent 1050, which is, again, absolutely fantastic. And I love both of those 2 mods, and they would fit in so well on Green River with my existing Fent farm, but I just don't know, because it's been so long. I don't know if I can get back into that one. I'll probably be firing that up in the next couple of days and playing around with it and seeing if I can get back into the mood for that farm, but that one may possibly just die out because it's been so long since I've been on it. Yeah, I know I didn't end up getting Field 4 on Big Bud Farm. I've still got the file, and I'll probably play it from time to time on, in my own time, just to do that. And what I might do is, if that's the case, I'll probably live stream when I do actually make that purchase, just so I can show, yes, finally achieved it. But I won't be running the series on that one anymore. I mean, we're so close to maps that are going to be really suitable for Big Buds, like Lone Oak, South Mountain Creamery, and Welker Farm, that there's just no place left, I don't think, for Mustang Valley. I think that map's just died a death now. Yeah, the Fiat Agri's a nice tractor. I do like that. I agree with you in the hay there. A lot of nice little options on that. It's a pretty powerful little tractor. But when you're trying to do a Massey theme, it doesn't really fit having a Fiat tractor in there. What's the best way to feed your animals on session? Is that... Did you mean seasons instead of session there? And in terms of the choice between loose or bales, it's entirely up to you. I mean, when it comes to grass, yeah, if you want to make sure that your cows get grass all year round, then you kind of need to store loose grass in a silo somewhere. And if the map doesn't have a silo that takes it as default, like this one, then you need to put down a placeable forage and chip silo so that you can store grass in that, because otherwise it's going to rot through the winter and you're not going to have anything to feed your animals until mid-spring when the grass starts to grow again. But in terms of making your TMR, it's entirely up to you. I mean, if you want to have these, you know, this huge stockpile of TMR, then again, you need somewhere to store it. So you can either need to store it in a shed somewhere, or you need to store it in a silo. In which case, you know, loose material is probably better. I don't know, but if you want to just mix it on the fly like I'm doing on this one, then there's no reason why you can't do it with bales. That's what I'm doing on this farm here. I'm doing baled silos, baled TMR on this one. So I've got a nice load of straw bales and hay bales put aside. I'm going to make some loose silage. I have got a few wrapped silage bales at the moment, which I'm using up. And once they're gone, I'll probably just stick to using loose silage to finish mixing up my TMR. Yeah, that's another good point as well there from Donny. It depends on how many animals you've got as well. If you've got a lot of cows and you're getting through TMR, you know, at a very, very fast rate, then again, loose is probably better, because otherwise you're just not going to be able to store enough bales to last you all that time. So this is my stockpile. I've got plenty of straw. This straw is going to last me through till this time next year easily, because I don't have a huge number of cows and I don't have a huge number of pigs, and by this time next year I still won't have a huge number of cows or pigs. So that straw is going to go down very, very slowly. And then I've got quite a lot of hay, as you can see, but I've got the option of topping this hay up once summer comes around. So I've got more than enough hay again for not that many cows and not that many sheep around the corner. I've got a separate stash of bales here for the sheep, and one bale will last an eternity for, you know, the 10 sheep that I have. So I don't have to worry about feeding them with huge amounts of loose stuff, because that bale will last them ages. Once my cow numbers get above 50, then, you know, I'm going to start burning through my resources a bit quicker, and if I don't have enough grass areas to be able to produce enough hay and store enough hay, with needing to go to loose material, but more than enough bales to last you the year. Ruben saying there's a glitch. If you put grass bales on the autoloader trailer, it won't rot. Yeah, but it's exploiting a glitch that I don't like to do that. I don't. If something is if there's a very specific mechanic that's laid out, finding an exploit around that mechanic just so you can break the game rules, it kind of seems a bit pointless. If you want to experience seasons and the way it's supposed to be played, don't go looking for ways to break it and glitch it so that you can just take the best bits of seasons that you want and ignore the rest. Oh, stream might be dying. Still going. It looks a bit blurry, but we're still going. Hopefully that'll improve in a second. What map am I playing on? I'm playing on the new Baltic Sea map that came out a couple of days ago from Red Kindsters. Available on all formats. Oops. Yeah, that internet quality is still not very good at the moment, is it? It's still pretty blurry. Well, we've been going for nearly an hour and a half, so I might call it a day in a moment. I'll see if it picks up and improves in a second. If it doesn't, I'll probably call it a day. Let's see if I can actually rescue the plough. Nope. No way of picking that up, so that'll have to be reset. What season am I using? I'm playing with the Poland Geo. Right, let's see if this will actually go in there without falling over this time. Yeah, there we go. This thing's going to need some maintenance pretty soon. I've already got best part of 24 hours on it. Let's see, how much is left? 27.1 engine hours left before it needs a bit of a fix. That's kind of cool. Still pootling away on this field. I am going to switch them over. I think I'll finish this field off and I'll switch the tractors over. I'm not that back for that much longer, Jean-Luc. I'm going to be disappearing soon, but yeah, I'm going to start putting some stuff out on the channel again pretty soon. This is kind of just a test I've been doing to combine a live stream on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. Seems to be working reasonably well. You can hear that engine is really struggling to give me the full grunt. Let me just see if I can change the settings on the quality. No, doesn't look like it. It's not reinitializing at the quality it should be at. It's staying really low, so I'm gonna finish this little strip off, this last patch of this field, then I'm gonna end the stream. But I may well be back on a little bit later today, we'll see. Oh, and I've had the windows open, so there's been a lot of noise from traffic from the main road outside my house. Have you guys heard a lot of background noise from vehicles and stuff going past the windows? Just so I know whether or not I need to close the windows in the future when I'm doing live streaming. Okay, I mean, I didn't think so, but I just wanted to double check as well. There will be times when the boy races go past on the crotch rockets and the tuned cars, and you'll hear like the over-the-top blown exhausts and people thrashing their engines. You will hear that occasionally from time to time. You probably hear emergency services going past as well. It's a main road that kind of goes out towards an ambulance bay as well, so do tend to get quite a lot of ambulances go past throughout the day. Sirens are blaring. A lot of trucks as well. But the microphone is pointed away from the window, so hopefully that stuff should all be kind of not picked up. Alright, so field 7 is the next field to get started, and then I'm going to take a break as soon as I get this thing started. So I'm properly back. I'm going to be back with a series at some point very soon, and I'm going to be doing some live streaming sort of on and off on a pretty regular basis from now on. I may eventually look and try and set up some proper scheduled sessions so that people know exactly when it's going to start and how long it's going to run for. We'll see. I'm still kind of playing around with live streaming a little bit at the moment. Right, that's it then. That's me done for now. I'll be back at some point pretty soon. I'm not sure when. Probably do another little live stream later on today. But I'm going to take a break for now. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll catch up with you all again pretty soon.